I'll say a few words and then I'll throw to Minister Rankine and to the Commissioner to provide some more detail in relation to this. Are we ready to go?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, as everybody knows, the 3-month amnesty, which was in effect, came to a conclusion yesterday. We're here to provide some details about the outcome of the amnesty. Can I say that the government is delighted with the outcome of this amnesty. Nearly 3,000 weapons of various categories have been handed in, which makes this by far the most successful gun amnesty that South Australia has seen. I'd like to commend all of those people in the community who have done the right thing by surrendering these firearms in the course of the amnesty. And can I issue again to the people of South Australia the very important warning that we began this amnesty with, and that is the firearms laws in this state have changed. The maximum penalties for people involved in criminal conduct using firearms have substantially increased. There is a new offence for people firing at police officers in the course of their duty, which will be a very serious offence. People found with firearms in the course of the commission of any offence are basically going to be facing imprisonment in all but the most exceptional circumstances. The change in the firearms regime in this state is now to the point where if you're travelling around the city with firearms, if you're committing offences with firearms, you will go to jail. And that is why this amnesty was so important. It was to give people an opportunity before these firearms provisions came into effect to get their house in order. And in nearly 3,000 cases that has happened, and that is excellent. This is nearly 3,000 weapons that we as South Australians don't have to worry about having on our streets. I'd like to now invite Minister Rankine to talk a bit more in detail about the nature of the firearms that have been surrendered, and also ask the Commissioner to make any remarks he might wish to make as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Attorney. As I said to you at our last press conference, that these weapons out in our community, in homes, in ordinary streets, pose a great risk to the people that had them in their homes, their families, and particularly makes them a target for criminals. I mean, illegal weapons, unregistered weapons are a gift to anyone that wants to get out there and commit crimes in our community. So to have them in your home puts you front and centre as a target for criminals to break into your home and try and retrieve these. What we know also is that generally if they're unregistered or illegal, they're not properly secured in people's homes, posing additional risk to the people that live there. During this amnesty, we've had over 100 handguns handed in, 168 I think, handguns handed in. We know they are the weapons of choice for criminals, so that's 168 no longer available, and we've had in excess of 100 C and D class weapons handed in. You only have to look at the display on the table here. Many of them are clearly designed for criminal activity. Guns that have been handmade, guns that have been modified, even one that's been cut down and turned into a handmade machine gun. I mean, these are serious weapons that have been handed in during this amnesty. As the Attorney said, the penalties now are incredibly serious, up to $50,000 and 10 years in jail, depending on the class of weapon you're caught with. We have more police now out working in our community. Victim reported crime has dropped by 39%, so we've got more police to do the work on the ground in relation to guns like this. So if you've got illegal weapons in your home, if you've got unregistered weapons in your home, my very strong message to you is contact your local police station and make arrangements to hand it in, even if the amnesty has finished, because the penalty is very severe if you are caught with it. The guns here range from, as you can see, tiny pistols that could be concealed in a handbag through to substantial military weapons, a John Wayne Memorial rifle, imitation guns that look real. If anyone used it in a robbery, you would clearly think that you were being threatened. So this amnesty has been incredibly successful. Through the 3 amnesties, nearly 6,000 weapons no longer out in our community. Commissioner?
I'd just like to reiterate the words of the Attorney and the Minister. This has been a very successful amnesty. 1,700 in the last amnesty we had in terms of weapons being handed in, and now we've had close to 3,000. So what I'd like to do is thank the public for their assistance in the amnesty. These are weapons that people no longer have to worry about being in their homes, and the other big plus for us is they're the weapons that criminals won't get their hands on. And as you can see, we've got a sawn-off shotgun, submachine gun, number of handguns, all of those types of weapons that are used for criminal purposes, not necessarily for hunting purposes. So you've recently been reporting on a spate of armed robberies over the suburbs where there was 13 or 14 home invasions where a shotgun was involved in those. Once again, firearms being used in crime. So when we take these weapons off the street, we're able to reduce the potential for criminals to use these types of weapons to inflict harm on others. So in closing, I'd just really like to thank the public. I think they have responded very well to the amnesty and provided us with significant support.
Commissioner, even you at the beginning of the amnesty raised doubts that offenders would be handing in weapons. What do you think now? Yeah,
I've always thought that. Amnesties aren't designed to get the offenders. They actually provide people an opportunity to remove firearms that offenders may use, and it also provides people an opportunity to have unwanted firearms in their homes that they don't know what to do with. It might have been a spouse who's recently departed or been departed for some time. They're left in the home and then they're too scared to come forward, and so this takes that pressure off. But as I said, they're firearms that criminals won't be able to use into the future.
For those people that may have missed the boat in terms of the amnesty, is there any risk, if they want to now hand it in outside the amnesty, is there any risk of them being...
No, it all depend on circumstances, etc. But our advice is always to come in and bring unwanted firearms in. The likelihood of being prosecuted would be very low because the majority of people bringing these firearms in are bringing them in for the purpose that we want, and that's to remove them from the